Hey everyone, the topic of today's show is water flow. The last few videos I did talk about my MP40 placement. So I have two on one side, two on the other side, and I try to mimic the worldwide corals ghost tank, which is kind of similar dimensions. And you may also remember that in the last episode, so the previous episode, there was an accident where, when I was talking, two of my MP40s, the wet sides, basically I heard a click and then they have fallen down. So first I want to address that issue. So I contacted Ecotech, told them about this, and within 24 hours, because apparently it was not an easy thing to figure out, they have contacted me back and gave me a solution which I had tried, and I'm happy to say that it worked. So the issue was that I have gone into EcoSmart Live website and I've changed the feed mode setting for the power heads to be half of what it's supposed to be. So basically it was barely running. So the reason I did it was, when I was doing the alternating flow, if I have two MP40s running on one side, I don't want anything to be produced from the other side, so that there is the full gyre effect going through the tank. However, when you do this, when the MP40s then decide to ramp up, the issue is that something happens and basically kicks in too hard, and sometimes the wet side is not gonna, there's probably some sort of a torque that happens on the magnet side, and basically the MP40 doesn't want to stick. Basically there's a thud and it gets thrown off. So this has been driving me, a little bit, it made me a little bit impatient in the last few weeks, but especially since I started tinkering with the flow in the tank. But as soon as I've made this change, all these problems have gone away. So that is the first part. So thanks for Ecotech for looking into it. I still don't quite understand how is this different from when the power heads are off and you turn them on. Probably they run through a slightly different algorithm. I also understand that they will be switching to Mobius platform, so maybe they'll fix it there. But if you've been running into something of this issue, let me know, or I'd be curious to find out. And now you know what could be the possible cause. So now to the fun part, the water flow patterns. I shot my first video a few weeks ago, and since then I've been tinkering with the water flow every 3-4 days. So I've tried a whole bunch of different modes. Towards the end, I was mostly impressed with the so-called EcoSmart Live modes. So the nutrient export and the tidal swell, because what happens with those modes is you set up one or a couple of pumps, one pump as a muster, then there's maybe another synced pump to it on this side, then there's two anti-sync, and if you have something in the back, it will be designated as a back power head, and then Ecotech basically runs some sort of an algorithm where first to simulate some sort of a type of a wave action. And so what happens is sometimes it starts off with a strong flow on one side, then within an hour and a half it will change to a strong flow on the other side, and then towards the end of it, it will maybe ramp up and stir a lot of detritus from the bottom. So one of the modes, which was the nutrient export mode, had an unbelievable standing wave on this tank, where when I was running it even at 70%, I had to bring it down even lower, because basically the water was just getting about to be spilled on the floor. So and that's just from 2 pumps on one side. So it's all about timing the right, gyre or the pulse. So I'm quite happy. I was very happy with this, and I found that it stirred up a few things from a few nooks and crannies that has never happened before. But then I decided to do something different, and I've actually been very successful with a similar setup in my previous tank, which is the Practical Reef, which is a smaller tank, but I had, it's a by Red Sea, it's a 56 gallons, but I had 2 MP40s on the back wall, and that gave me fantastic flow for all of my SPS. So just goes to show you that when you try to mimic somebody else's flow, it may look nice. Worldwide Corals, I'm sure they are real experts and they know what they're doing. But for me, maybe my tank has slightly different dimensions, but I was just never really seeing this beautiful kind of gyre kind of going one way or the other. And so I decided to do something that I used to in my previous tank. So I've put all of the MP40s along the back wall. So not only it makes the tank look a lot nicer from pretty much the 3 sides. It's beautiful. I'll be making new photos to show that. If you are diligent about the cleanliness of your MP40s and the back wall, it's actually not going to stick out. But I guess you will all see how's my maintenance over the next few months. Now, having said that, I've just programmed all of them to be running in Reef crest. And the nice thing about it is that I can control which ones are going to be going to the max, or let's say 80%, 90%. And I have an anemone on my left side, so I know that I don't want to be running anything close to 100% there. If anything, I may even change that flow to be a little bit more lagoon-like. But then the rest of the tank, I'm going to be basically cranking it up. Maybe in the middle, it's going to be getting close to 100%. Right now, everything is maxed out at 70%, and I am running it on Reef crest, and I really like it. So it gives me all the fine-tuning I need. I find that there is this wave that goes to the front of the tank. I have rippling the top on the surface, and then it comes back down and gets into all the nooks and crannies, and then basically I get this kind of motion, the forward motion from the tank. So this is something that I have set up a few days ago, and I think I'm gonna stick with this. I really like it, and not only I haven't had any cases of my power heads falling off anymore. I haven't even attached them through the through the cords, but I find that it's actually gives me somewhat nicer flow, and I think I'm gonna stick with this. So I'll run it. My goal is to run it maybe for 2-3 months and see if anything changes in the tank in terms of the flow pattern or coral growth, or maybe how my LPS corals are going to react. So I'll keep you posted. A few more action items or updates. So I haven't had any coral changes yet. I think any issues I had with the corals, they've slowed down, like my Favia, my beloved Favia that I'm really attached to. Actually, I think it slowed down in terms of its demise, because for a while it was very rapid. I think I'm gonna actually order the ICP test, and I have the Marine Pure blocks cooking in another tank that has nothing else in it. So I will send this water over for testing, and then we will see what the results will be. Having said that, the tank is doing great. Corals are doing great. I'm really happy with the fish and the fish selection, but I think I need a little bit more fish. So I'm trying to get a few more maybe wrasses or maybe even a tang. My dream is to get a powder blue tang, but I've always had trouble acclimating the poor thing, because usually they come in from the ocean in a really bad condition, and I think same as for the copper bands, usually there's a very high mortality rate. Now, final couple of updates. Aquatic Log is doing very well since October, since I've made it free. My user base has, the number of users per day has tripled, so that's unbelievable. Thank you all. I've just pushed a new update, Aquatic Log 9.3, so you can download it. It's got quite a few niceties in this one as well. And over time I'm going to be working on 9.4, and right now I'm talking to you, my beloved Android users. If you're interested in trying out the new Aquatic Log for Android, please write to me at contact@aquaticlog.com, and I'm gonna put your name and email to the list as soon as I get at least 50 beta testers. Basically, I'm going to really put in a kick drive and see if I can get something your way soon. Right now, there's definitely been quite a lot of interest, but I haven't reached the goal yet. So please let me know if you're interested. And also, if you are interested in a particular topic you want me to discuss, write in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe, like, and finally, go to the App Store, rate the Aquatic Log application, tell your friends, because I want it all out there. It's a free app. Let's together make it the best reefing and aquarium community that it can be for this utility. So thank you for watching, and talk to you next time. Happy reefing.